on millions of acres in the United States each year. And they all begin with a source of heat.
What a unique video. That was just like what we learned yesterday about how fires can start with just a strike of lightning. Let's go back and reread and get started on our lesson. Hello, scholars. Happy Thursday. Today in our close reading lesson, we are going to be rereading about forest fires, as well as going through and looking at some specific author craft moves that are used in this text. To start off, I wanted to review what we did yesterday. So just like you guys, I went back in my journal and I filled out 3 things that the author taught us that I thought were the most important. Then I went and filled out what the author thought about the forest fires. While I am reading these out loud, if you would like to flip open to your notebook page where you drew your chart, you can add in anything that you agree with that I wrote, or change your answer as needed. So 3 things the author taught me was that fires can be caused by humans or by natural factors. Forest fires are very detrimental to plant and animal life. Plant and animal life can be rebuilt over time after a forest fire. And the point of view that the author had was that forest fires can be extremely harmful to plant and animal life. And it's so important for people to be informed of the dangers and prevention of forest fires. If you need to, pause here to add any notes that you would like to your chart. Today, for our notebook page, here's what I would like you to do. This looks like a lot. No need to write all this down. We're just going to use this to help us. So you are going to write down forest fires, the title of the text, then your date. It is the 2nd day of April. And then we're going to add something new today. We are going to add a focus part of our notes. This is where we're going to write what craft moves we're focusing on for the day. The first move we're going to focus on are headings. What are headings? Headings are the parts of the text that are in this bold print. What is bold print? Bold print is when the letters look thicker. So if you look here, the letters are thicker. Bolded print, I also bolded some things in my notebook page today. When we see a heading in a text, it tells us what we're about to read about. We see this a few times in our text that we read yesterday. The other craft move we're going to be looking at today is surprising and interesting facts. We know that really good authors want to include facts that surprise us and are interesting to us, so they draw us in and make us want to read more. If they put a bunch of boring facts in there, we're not going to want to read anything else about it. Then you will need your notes section. Your notes section, all you need right now is paragraphs 1 through 3, so a place to put paragraphs 1 through 3. Go ahead and make sure that you have written down these highlighted parts in your notebook. Pause here and do so now. Now that you have written those down, we can go back and reread our text and discover how they use headings and surprising and interesting facts. So keep these 2 things in mind as we read today. Forest fires. What causes forest fires? Lightning starts some forest fires. People start forest fires too. Sometimes people burn forest on purpose. They want to clear the land for farms, homes, or businesses. In other cases, humans are careless. They leave a campfire burning. There are other cases of forest fires. In some forests, the ground is covered with lots of dead wood, twigs, needles, and grass. This is excellent fuel for a fire. So the fire spreads more quickly. Long periods of drought, periods of no or little rain, make the fuel extra dry. Weather also plays a role. When the temperature is very hot and there are strong winds and dry air, a fire will spread. This happened in Southern California in 2007. The Santa Ana winds spread the fires through the forests and towns. Where the fires start may be important too. A fire moving up a mountain spreads faster than a fire moving down a mountain. That's interesting. All right, so you don't have to write anything down for paragraphs 1 through 3, but I'm going to talk a little bit out loud about what was going through in my head so that you are ready to write down what goes on in your head and your brain when we read the next section. So I know in this section here, we discovered what causes forest fires. I can see this in the heading. The heading is what causes forest fires. It tells me what I'm going to be reading about. I can also see this with the surprising and interesting facts that are in the story. So one interesting fact that shows me what causes surprising or interesting fires is that lightning starts some of them, people start some of the forest fires too. I know that this can either happen through people being careless or trying to clear out an area of land. Another surprising or interesting fact that really grabbed my attention and made me want to read more was that a fire moving up a mountain spreads faster than a fire moving down a mountain. I never knew that, and that was really interesting to me. So when you read with me paragraphs 4 through 5, I want you to keep in mind what we're discovering and how the author uses headings and interesting facts to show us these ideas. The cost of forest fires. In addition to killing trees, forest fires destroy habitats, places where birds nest, deer find food, and so on. The roots of trees and other plants normally hold soil in place. Without the living roots, the soil can be washed away or erode during heavy rains. The land turns into a desert where very few plants grow. After forest fires. Some trees are weaker after a fire, but not killed. Some trees that do not grow well in sunlight start to grow in the shade. Over time, a new forest forms. Animals move into the area to take advantage of the new food sources and nesting sites. Okay. So, what exactly did we discover here? Remember, when we think about what we discovered in a section, we can use the headings to help us know what we read about. Then I want you to tell me about how does the author use headings and interesting facts to show us these ideas? Go ahead and pause here and take a moment to jot these notes inside your notebook. Now we are ready to read the last paragraph of the text. Preventing forest fires. The best way to stop the destruction of forest fires is to prevent them from happening. Forestry agencies and fire departments spend a lot of time and money working to teach people about the dangers of forest fires. We know in this last section here, we discovered a lot about the author's point of view. They wanted us to learn how to prevent forest fires so that we could continue to make sure that forests and animals are staying safe. We discovered, reading our text today, that great readers know that authors use headings to prepare us for what we are about to read. We also discovered that authors will include surprising and interesting facts in order to draw us in and make us more interested in the text. Go ahead and pause here and write down what great readers know about the authors based off what we just learned. Now we are ready to look at our multiple choice questions. We have been learning about how we can choose a multiple choice question. We've learned about two strategies. One way is that we can decide our answer and cover up all the rest, forming our own opinion before we even select one. Another way that we can choose an answer is by writing an M for maybe by the ones that we think are best and crossing out the ones that we know are wrong. So let's look at our questions and choose a strategy that works best for us. What is the connection between paragraphs 4 and 5? Well, I think for this one, I'm going to choose to cover up my answers. And that way, I can focus on rereading paragraph 4 and 5, formulate my own opinion, and go back and select my best answer. So let's see, this is paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to take a moment and scroll through and reread these two paragraphs to ourselves. Okay, so now I want to think about what were the connection between those two paragraphs. What connected the two of them? Okay, think about it in your brain. What is your connection in your opinion? And see if you see it in any of the answers as we read. Paragraphs 4 and 5 show the possible solutions to the problem of a forest fire. B. Paragraphs 4 and 5 describe how animals must find a new habitat to live in after a forest fire. C. Paragraphs 4 and 5 show the outcomes that may follow after a forest fire. D. Paragraphs 4 and 5 teach about what is needed for a new forest to grow after a forest fire. So I know that both of these paragraphs do something together. Go ahead and write down which one matched best with the opinion that you formulated in your brain on your notebook papers. I'm going to write mine on the board. Got it? All right. If you got C, you were correct. Paragraphs 4 and 5 show the outcomes that may follow after a forest fire. So both of these go over what effects a forest fire has on the forest and what happens after it. On number 2, let's go ahead and this time cross out the ones we know are wrong and put an M for maybe by the ones we know are right. So we're going to write a 2 in our notebook paper and then A, B, C, or D. No need to write out the whole question. If you already have a printout made of this, then you can just use that. Which sentence best states a main idea of the section, what causes forest fires? So that's this first part here. A, forest fires can cause a lot of destruction to plant and animal life. So I know that they can cause that, so I'm going to put an M for maybe there. B, forest fires are mostly caused by human development and carelessness. I see that it says people start fires, but it doesn't say that most of them are started by people. So I'm going to cross out B. C, there are different factors that impact the size and amount of damage of a forest fire. Notice here it kind of talks about that, about how the winds or which way it's moving on a mountain. So I'm going to put an M for maybe there. Oh, and then D says forest fires can be caused by humans or natural factors. That's true. So I'm going to put an M for maybe there. So remember how we learned about how headings can kind of help us figure out what a passage is going to be about? So I know that this one's what causes forest fires. So which of these answers answers that question the best? Forest fires can cause a lot of destruction to animal and plant life. When I look at that, I think that's more in this section, the cost of forest fires and after forest fires. But it's not really what causes them, it's what happens after. So I'm going to cross out A now. C, there are different factors that impact the size and amount of damage of a forest fire. With this one, it tells me about how there's different factors, but it doesn't really tell me the cause. On D, it says forest fires can be caused by humans or various natural factors. So it's answering this question in my heading. So I think that D is my best answer. Go ahead and put D in your notebook. If you got both of those or followed along and got them right, go ahead and let's do the bubblegum cheer. All right, guys. Your last step today is that you are going to be answering this question in your notebook on your own. So our question today is, why does the author include the section, the cost of forest fires, so this section here, in this article? Give 2 pieces of evidence to support your answer. So the author included the cost of forest fires section because we have our claim, and then we are going to include our 2 pieces of evidence. How do you know that that's why they included it? What in our article tells you that? I know you can do it. If you have a really great response that you want to show me, please send it to me on Class Dojo. I would love to see it. I hope you guys have an awesome Thursday and get ready for a fun lesson tomorrow. Bye-bye.